Welcome everybody to another episode of Back Pass with Ras, and I'm your host Ras, bringing you an exclusive episode for Chinese New Year. So if you're new to this show, let me just introduce this show to you. This is a show where you reminisce about football from the 90s and the noughties. And if you love your football from that era, do join us, do listen to us and our previous episodes as well. Everything's available on our Facebook pages, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, even Anchor. So these are platforms, some of the platforms, in fact, where you can listen to our episodes. Just type in Backpass with Ras and that's it. You get the list of episodes that we have recorded. So in this episode, it's Chinese New Year and it's synonymous with the color red. And there are many famous teams that wear the color red. And one of it is a team that is closest to my heart. My favorite English club, Manchester United. So we are going to cover Manchester United and specifically the three great teams created by Sir Alex Ferguson himself, the Don, the Master, whatever else, because we run out of superlatives when it comes to this man, Sir Alex Ferguson. So yes, we're going to cover these three teams, 1994 versus 1999, versus 2008, and I have three guests on the show representing each of these teams. In the 1994 corner, I've got Ong Kee Pin. Hello, Mr. Ong Kee Pin, affectionately known as KP. Hi, KP. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks. And thanks for the invite, man.
Yeah, KP. So KP is all the way from Malaysia. Which part of Malaysia are you from, KP?
I'm in KL.
KL, you born and brought there?
I actually grew up in, I was born in Ipoh, but I grew up in KL, yeah.
All right, cool. So KP, just tell us, which year or which season do you start supporting Manchester United?
The first time I ever watched them on TV was in 1979, right? And this was like even before my dad got us a color TV,
Oh,
so
right.
It was a black and white, and it was the FA Cup final, the 1979 final, United versus Arsenal, that game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting game, actually. It was the first time I ever watched them. And I can remember we were 2-0 down at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, this is almost Fergie time before Fergie time, right?
Yeah.
So we scored 2 goals in the last 5 minutes. And it was like game on. We thought, okay, let's go into extra time and win this. And then at the very last minute, Alan Sunderland from Arsenal with his 70s tash got the winner. And it just broke all our hearts, right?
Yeah.
So, but I remember after that, I don't know why, I was just so attracted to the plucky losers, right? That from that point onwards, I just thought, okay, this is the team for me, Man United.
All right. That's a nice brief history of how you supported Man United, which year. Is this the years of Frank Stapleton for Manchester United?
Stapleton, if I'm not mistaken, joined the year after.
All right. So this was when he was playing for Arsenal then?
Yeah, he's actually scored in the final as well.
Yeah.
He scored against us, and then the next year we signed him.
Okay. So KP, we'll speak to you a little later. Next guest I've got representing the year 1999, someone who is from the same alma mater as me, St. Andrews Secondary. He is my senior, Mr. Joel Robert. How are you doing, Mr. Joel?
How are you doing, Ras? I think I'm going to correct you, Ras. You are my senior. I'm still your junior.
Yes. I'm your senior. You're my junior. But we're from the same school, grade school.
Yep. Once the same, always the same.
Yes. Up and on.
Yep.
Okay, Joel, which season do you start supporting Manchester United?
It has to be 9 years old, man. I was born in 1990. So it was the year 1999 where I actually really played football and just started watching football. At the age of 9 years old, you're still studying and it's a big thing, and it's a little big thing to actually wake up in the middle of the night to actually watch Premier League games or any other games. That was a time where I was really into it, and it's just something about United that just caught me. I mean, I come from a family of Liverpool background.
Oh.
My entire family supports Liverpool. So being the only devil out of the family actually gave me a little bit more happiness. But yeah, I liked it. I liked it very much. Ever since then, I've never turned my back on them.
All right, Joel, you're from Singapore, right? Which part of Singapore?
Yep, I'm from Singapore. Tiong Bahru. I'm living in Tiong Bahru.
Okay. So from 99, we go to the person representing 2008, a person I've just got to know of. Actually, I knew of him for quite some time through his connection with the official Manchester United Supporters Club. But it's only now that we've begun conversing with each other. Mr. Kiren Tanapalan, how are you doing? Did I get
Hi,
your name
Russ.
right?
I'm doing great. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Just call me Kiran.
Yeah.
Good enough.
All right. Well, Kiren, which part of Singapore are you from?
So I'm from the opposition land, Hougang.
All right.
All right.
I'm also from Hougang.
Oh, okay.
But
Cool.
not in the opposition land, unfortunately. But yeah, politics aside. Okay, Kiran, which season do you start supporting Manchester United?
Okay, so my earliest recollection was the 1996-1997 season.
Okay.
Yeah, I started watching then. Around the same age as Joe as well, 9-10 years old. Yeah, and the first game that I watched was a Liverpool United game. You know, back then, we don't have season passes. You don't get to watch every single game, so you pick and choose which game to watch. Yeah, and when you have like loads of uncles who are either United or Liverpool fans, you know, all the Indians coming together, and they're always in these two camps. Yeah. So that was my very first memory, and I guess in a way, I mean, United won the game, so that kind of shaped how I was gonna,
who you're gonna support.
Precisely. I mean, naturally, when you are young, you tend to gravitate towards the team that is winning more often, right?
Yeah.
Usually that means that they are playing either more attractive or more effective football. So, and you, when you are young, you want to be one of them. So I remembered, we used to play with water bottles. We'll step on the water bottle, make it
and
flat.
crush it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I used to call myself Dwight York. And all I'll do is, that time I was chubby, so I'll just camp, sniper, just stay by the goalpost. When it comes to me, just kick it in. Yeah, so I guess, since then, same like the rest, never looked back. Interestingly, I was from St. Andrews Junior for the first 3 years as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But after that, I went over to Rosyth. Yeah.
Where again? Sorry?
Rosyth.
Oh, wow, Rosyth.
Rosyth Primary. Yeah.
All right. Rosyth Primary. Okay. Yeah, that's nearby. All right.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, so that's Kiran, and I'm also a Manchester United fan. I started sporting in 1991. That's because my father kept saying that look out for this player called Lee Sharp, and he kept saying he looked like me, but I of course not. I don't look like him, but yeah, he kept saying he looked like me. So I just kept looking out for this fella, and he was quite an exciting player. So that's where and how I became a Manchester United fan. So brief history done, all four of us. In fact, if you're listening in, you might be thinking you're listening into a Manchester United fan show. It is like it is today, but trust me, it is still back pass with Russ. Anyways, Mr. KP, I've got a question for you. Since you're the senior of all of us, you've been watching Manchester United for a very long time right now. So this is a question I got for you. What was Manchester United like from the time Sir Alex Ferguson was appointed in 1986 to winning the FA Cup in 1990? Is it comparable to how it is now?
Okay, I think the situation is a bit different from those days, because when Ferguson took over, we were still a fashionable club, but we were nowhere as successful as we were now, right? And, we were not the financial behemoth that we are now. And we were still owned by the other family, right? So at that point in time, he took over. It was a team of aging guys, and they were like a lot of them had alcohol problems and all that. So you had guys like Robson, who was well known to be at the pubs and all that, and then you had guys like all the other older guys were like
Gordon Strachan.
Yeah, Gordon Strachan and
Paul McGrath.
Especially Paul McGrath, right? So all these guys were like, so he had a problem with that, and he knew that he had to get rid of all these guys slowly but surely before anything can happen. So he had to take his time, and they didn't have the funds that he had now, And I mean, at that point in time, I think the funds that he had to buy players were almost like the funds he can buy Bebe at this point in time, So he had to take his time. And the thing with Ferguson, I think when he first started was that he was a very, very hard worker. He attended all the junior matches. He just went for all the matches around town and all that, just get himself used to the English culture and the English football. So it's very, very different from today. Because now we have Carrington, we have some of the best facilities, we have the best resources and all that. So I think the managers these days have it good compared to what he had then.
Okay. What was the football like in those days for Manchester United?
In the beginning, it was not that easy to watch, right? But then I can tell you one thing is that you can't really compare those days and these days. I mean, even the pitches were horrible then,
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Right? So the teams, right up to the winning team, I think he was still experimenting with it, right? He had to buy the players that he needed and stuff like that. But I think right up until when he started winning the league and all that, that's when he actually got his formula correct and got the players in that he wanted. But before that, it was almost like what we have today. There were some good matches, there were some bad matches.
Right. Okay. So that answers that question. Another question I have for you is that is it a myth or a reality that had Sir Alex Ferguson not won the FA Cup in 1990, he would have been sacked?
Actually, this question we will never know because the board themselves said that he was safe, right?
Yeah.
But then, and we didn't have the internet and all the keyboard warriors that come with it at that point, right? So it's very, very hard to tell. But we all knew he had a tough job, and they even had to sell McGrath eventually, right? And even Whiteside was his bright, new shining player, but even Whiteside had problems with injuries and the drinking and all that stuff. So those were top players that he had to slowly get rid of. So I think because of that, and because of the success that he had in Scotland as well, he was given a bit more time, I guess.
Okay. All right. That answers that. We will never know whether it's a myth or reality. Only God knows.
Yeah.
Moving on now to segment 1. Okay, what we're going to do today is we got 3 teams, right? 1994, 1999, and 2008. So what we're going to do, we're going to ask very similar questions for all 3 teams. What was special about this team? What were the memorable moments in this season? And how was this team different compared to the other 2? Okay, so these are common questions all 3 guests will answer. So now segment 1, of course, we're going to go to 1994. But before that, let me ask Joel and Kiren. Joel and Kiren, how much do you know about this 1993-1994 squad of Manchester United? Joel first.
All right. This is, I think I was 4 years old. All right. But if there's any recollection of any memories of this team, is the introduction of the class 92. I think this is where 19-year-old David Beckham, Gary Neville, Nicky Butt, Giggs was 21, where they were really introduced and put into battle by Ferguson. So this is where the class of 92 were really moved, and they were on our way to actually prepare for war, and that's when they bloomed and first start going in 1999.
Okay. Kiren, what are your recollections of this team?
Yeah, so same like Joel, the introduction of class 1992. I think with a season having been played, they probably got a bit more experience. I also thought that this was the team that had a good mixture of both experienced workhorses and young and talented youngsters. And it's always very difficult to bring out the best out of them. So, I'm very interested to hear what KP has to talk about how special the team was, what were the differences and all that. It is really way too early for me. But once in a while, I look back, at the old YouTube videos that they have, and then I have to wonder. I think someone just now mentioned about muddy pitches.
Yeah,
and you wonder how they cut players across these pitches and the ball quality, the lines and all that.
And also the balls were heavier, those days.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really a different era of football that KP is going to talk about. Yeah.
Okay, now segment 1. We're going to talk about this team, 1993-1994. KP, tell us, what was special about this team?
These guys, right, they could play you off the park or they could rumble with the best of them. These guys, like you guys rightly pointed out, right, they were the original guys. They were the OGs, man, right?
Yeah.
So nobody intimidated them. This team had Bruce, Cantona, Ince, McClare, Hughes, Robson, and Keane who just joined that season as well, right? So those guys could play, right? Make no mistake about it. But at the same time, right, you have the feeling that these guys, they would love a brawl. It's not a problem for them, you know? And at that point in time as well is that I think Giggs and Sharp were already making headway in the first team.
Kanchelskis as well.
And Kanchelskis as well. And you look at Giggs, right, in his early days, it's not the Giggs that you guys will get to see often now. He used to just run down the wings like crazy, and he could cut in, cut out. He could do everything. That boy was special at that point.
Yeah, true. I would just point out that for me, this 93-94 team is and will always be my favorite Manchester United team, because that's the first one that I watched, or rather actually in those days it was very difficult to watch matches live. So we had to rely on highlights, videos, or rather Premier League highlights every week, and I got to look out for teletext updates on the scores. But this team left an impression that it was like an almighty team. Almost every week they were winning games and unstoppable. They were unstoppable. So when you watch the highlights, also you look at the goals, the way they played, just took my heart. This team will always be special for me. Okay, KP, next question. What were the memorable moments in this season?
I think there's so many, but I'll highlight some of it, right? So one of it is actually watching Robo lift the Premiership trophy with Bruce. Right? That was a really touching moment because at that point in time, he was like on the way out. You know, he's been the captain for the longest time and we never really won anything with him. So it was a nice move, touch from Bruce as well to call him up to help they actually lifted the trophy together. So that was a really touching moment. And then obviously we were double champions that year. We were nearly the local treble champions.
We nearly did the treble, the domestic treble.
Yeah, we lost the final in the League Cup, but we won the FA Cup final. We trashed Chelsea 4-0. You know, and you had Cantona there scoring 2 penalties, cool as ice, placed both the shots at exactly the same spot. You know, so that was a really, really nice final to watch as well. And the most memorable goal for that season was actually Sparky, Mark Hughes, right? Scoring a half volley at Oldham Athletic.
That was a FA Cup semi-final.
Semi-final. So we were almost on the way out. I think it was the last minute as well. And he just popped up and he watched the YouTube highlights. That was like a beautiful half volley. And then because of that, we actually won the next round.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct. I think for me, 1994 FA Cup final, that was special because it was, like I say, we couldn't watch every single game. In Singapore, I don't think there was any live matches shown, so we had to use the antenna to watch live matches in TV3. You know, timing of the matches didn't coincide and, sometimes couldn't watch. But the 94 final, that was at the right time. I managed to watch. And in fact, interesting backstory for that final is in the whole season, Chelsea, and that is a Chelsea without all these, of course, the riches of Roman Abramovich and all that. There's an ordinary Chelsea team, beat us twice in that season, home and away, 1-0. And both times this guy, Gavin Peacock, was the one that scored the winner. So they were our boogie team going into that final. And then to just smash them 4-0 in the final, very, very rewarding, very, very satisfying end to the season. And it's a pity. Of course, recently Manchester City did the domestic treble. I felt it is a pity because this United team were well worth of winning the domestic treble. You just missed out on that by losing the League Cup final.
Yeah, and also there's I think one final memorable moment for the season was the night in hell.
Galatasaray.
Yeah, so I mean, Champions League, we weren't that strong in the Champions League at that point, right? Because of the 3 foreigner rules and all that. But I think we had a good shot that year as well, and then, but because of the 3-3 draw at home, and then we had to go over to Istanbul, and then, I mean, all hell broke loose, literally, right?
So, that defines the team, because you spoke about the team ready to go for brawl. They actually went for a brawl with the Turkish police after that game.
Yep. So Cantona and Robson were fighting with the cops in the tunnel and all that.
Yeah, and in case you do not know what the 3 foreigner rule was, that in UEFA competitions back then, each team were only allowed to field 3 foreign players. And for the case of English teams, players that are non-English, so your Scottish players, Irish players, Northern Irish. Normally they would come under the United Kingdom passport, but in those days they were termed as foreigners. So that's why we could not field our best teams in Europe in those seasons. And that's why the class of 92 got their experience. They got the chance to play because they were English. So they got a chance to play. They cut their teeth in this competition. So that is the 3 foreigner rule that KP was mentioning about. KP, what makes this team more special than the 99 and 2008 team?
I think it's the wingers, if you ask me. Right? Like you mentioned earlier, right? If you watch Kanchelskis and Giggs and Sharp on the either side, it's crazy. I mean, we've always played 4-4-2 with Ferguson until almost the end, right?
Yeah.
These guys were the purest form of 4-4-2. And I mean, it was predictable what we were going to do every game, right? Kanchelskis could only do one thing, run in a straight line and cross,
And shoot.
Nobody could stop us, nobody could stop us. I mean,
Yeah.
Beckham could cross 1,000 times better than Kanchelskis, but Kanchelskis could just run and run and run,
Yeah.
So I think the wingers, especially that particular season, were crazy, right? And like I've mentioned earlier as well, I think this team had more skill than flair, actually, right? And amongst all the teams we were talking about from here to 99, 2008, right? I think this was the team that had the heaviest balance of steel on it.
Yeah.
I think the proper balance was the 99 team. They had enough flair and skill, steel at the same time, and then probably the later teams had more flair than steel. But this team was very heavy on the steel part. These guys were the OGs.
Yeah, actually, look at it. So many of the players from that squad ended up as managers. They became managers.
Yes.
They were all captains. In fact, so many of them: Bruce, Ince, Keane, Hughes, Cantona, Schmeichel. All of them were captains on the field. They were shouting, screaming at each other. They were having rows with each other in the dressing room with the manager himself. So, this was really a manly men's team, I would say.
Yeah.
So, that is the 1994 team. But before that, let me just go back a bit. I missed out this part. Let me just go back. A backlog of the seasons that United had from 1990-91. We were Cup Winners' Cup champions, League Cup runners-up in that season. 91-92, European Super Cup and League Cup champions. Until today, that is the only European Super Cup that we have won. 92-93 was the season where we finally won the Premier League. And the very first season of the Premier League, we were second in the old first division in 1991-92, losing out to Cantona's Leeds United. So those were the seasons leading up to 93-94. Post 93-94, what happened? 94-95, of course, we were second in the league and FA Cup. That season made famous by Eric Cantona's Kung Fu kick. We nearly won that season, in fact. Andy Cole missed some big chances against West Ham on the last day. We lost the league by 1 point. And we entered the FA Cup final against Everton. Also a lot of injuries. That's also another game where a lot of this class of 92 played. But we lost that final to Everton. 95-96 is where the class of 92 came through. Where, Kanchelskis, Hughes, Ince were sold. And then these guys came through. Cantona returned from his ban, his suspension. And United won the double-double. So second time winning the double of the league and FA Cup. Only Cantona, I think, can do this, drag the team. That season, he really dragged the team. So many 1-0 wins in that season. And with Cantona scoring the winning goal, I think only Cantona could do such a thing. 96-97, league champions again. And we were Champions League semi-finalists. We lost to Borussia Dortmund that season, who were the eventual champions. And finally, 97-98, we finished second, Arsene Wenger's Arsenal. So that's 97-98. And that leads up very nicely to segment 2. And in segment 2, we're going to discuss the treble-winning team.
One of the most famous football clubs in the world achieves one of the most precious feats in the world of football. Manchester United have won the double, and they've equalled Tottenham Hotspur's record of 8 FA Cup wins, putting their names in history now
So right, guys, we're back now. We've covered 93, 94. We're going to 1998, 1999, a colossal season. For this, I'm going to bring in Joel. Joel, you've been listening very, very attentively. Tell us about this 1998, 1999 season. What was special about this team, bro?
All right, Russ, thanks for this, man. Where do I start with this team? All right, if I want to start off with this team, I would say that there were leaders in this squad to actually bring us to greater heights. There were actually warriors in this team, all right, that would actually win wars for us and win actually battles for us. That's how we actually watched the team here. It was actually like a David versus Goliath kind of a feel whenever I watched this. The game was over us whenever the lineup is out. You have Stan and Ronnie Honson, middle defense. You have Roy Keane, all right, in the middle of that. And then you have 4 strikers to choose from. You have the likes of Teddy Sheringham, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if I'm not wrong, Andy Cole as well.
Cole.
And my favorite at that point of time was Andy Cole, man. I mean, nothing beats him. The thing is, I love him to bits of it. So it's the kind of team whereby they have flair in it. Even if the team loses, there's a certain way that the team lose, and it's not in a way whereby it's they play badly and not. No, we play the hearts out, and they eventually lose to a better team. All right, and that's what special about this team is they bounce back each time after a defeat, and that's how it is, and that's the mentality that actually brought them to, I would say, one of the stellar seasons ever.
Okay. Actually, on Andy Cole, I want to point this out. For me, Andy Cole redeemed himself in the 1998-99 season because what happened at the end of 94-95, I think a lot of Manchester United fans were left a bit disappointed with Andy Cole. So we were quite iffy with him. Okay, yeah, we won the season after that and all that. Okay. And then 98-99, I think he really shone through. Especially, of course, that partnership with Dwight York as well. Brilliant partnership.
Very brilliant, yeah.
So you spoke about what's special about that team. What were the memorable moments in that season? Oh my God, that's so many.
The thing is, there's so many, but I think people are telling me, the treble season was good, the Premier League was good, but my moment of the time actually came, if you guys actually remember, it's the FA Cup semi-final, all right? The replay against Arsenal. All right, the 0-0 was there. At the point of time, you guys know that Arsenal and us, we were going head to head.
Yeah.
It's us and them. The fan base were also going crazy. So the replay was just something out of the blue, whereby I think if I'm not wrong, it happened in Villa Park.
Yes.
It happened in Villa Park, yeah. So it was beautiful. Why? Because Roy Keane did a Roy Keane moment. He had to get sent off at that point of time. He had to do something silly or something out of the ordinary to just prove that, hey, look, I'm Roy Keane. This is what I do best. All right, I go in and I just heads in, I just clear everything in and I just do whatever I want. And so what happened is, with 10 men and we go into extra time, it's so inevitable whereby people think that's it. We are done. Arsenal is going to win.
Actually, it's the penalty. Remember, last minute.
The penalty, yes.
Yeah,
whereby,
I was thinking, oh my God, that's it.
That's it. No, it's going to be a save. It's going to be a goal.
It's going to be a goal. We're out.
We're out of it, and that's it. Crash it. But then Schmeichel saved it.
Yeah.
Schmeichel saved it. But the moment of magic came from one of my best ever favorite wingers to ever grace in the Premier League was Brian Giggs. He took the ball and went past 4 Arsenal players and hit it right at the top left-hand corner. If I'm not wrong, top left-hand
roof
corner
of the net, yeah.
Roof of the net of David Seaman. And he took off the white jersey and just started running around.
Hairy chest.
The hairy chest, yeah, with the hairy chest. At that point in time moment, hairy chest was the thing, bro.
Yeah,
that was the thing, man. Yeah.
Represent.
So my favorite moment was that because at that point in time, I remember clearly till this day, it was Thursday. I was watching the night. In the middle of the night, I think it was 3-4 a.m. It was close to 6 a.m.
Yeah,
I was putting on my junior school, my uniform. My father was shouting at me, off the TV, the school bus is waiting for you. And I told him, no, I have to watch this. And I went berserk, man. I screamed, I ran around the house, I took off my uniform like I was Ryan Giggs running around the house. Oh my God. Look, talking about it now just gives me so much memories of this, man. But yeah, that was the best moment of my life in 1999.
Yeah, coincidentally, yes, that was a schooling day. So I also was getting ready to go to school, St. Andrews especially. So, you go to school with a spring in a step, yeah?
Oh,
After that.
boy. I wore a United jersey inside. I wore to school. And I got caught. If I'm not wrong, at the point in time, but still, it was one of the OMs there. It wasn't Dennis Chongos, it was junior school. One of the teachers caught me and said, you cannot wear a red color shirt inside. It's either a white shirt or a school shirt. Then I was like, okay, I'm going to take it out, put it in my bag. But I had to go to class bringing it up like this. I was like, guess what? Who just entered the finals? Like, whoa, it was one of the best moments.
Oh, wonderful memory, wonderful. For me, going back to the question on being special, I think what made this time special is that we did not play easy teams on the way to winning.
Yeah, we had like Chelsea, we had Arsenal, we even had Liverpool.
Yes. Liverpool in the FA Cup, Chelsea 2 times, Arsenal 2 times in the FA Cup. And then in the Premier League, of course, Arsenal brought us all the way to the final day of the season.
Oh, yeah, man. Tell me.
That was nail-biting. We were losing 1-0 in that game and we were missing chances. I was thinking, oh my God, is this not going to be our day? And then finally, thank God, second half, we turned it around and we won. And even in Champions League, we played Barcelona and Bayern Munich in group stage.
And Juventus.
Strong team. You had Inter, Juventus in the knockout stages, and then again Bayern Munich. And the players that were there in those teams, you had Ronaldo, Baggio, Inzaghi, Del Piero, Zidane. We beat the lot.
Players, man.
Yeah, we beat the lot. We beat all these guys to win the treble. So for me, that made this team special.
Yeah.
And also, I think, 93, 94, the team was more or less picked. The starting 11, week in, week out, the starting 11.
Yeah, but
at most, you might have maybe 2 or 3 reserves, maybe McClare, Sharp, that could come in to the first team. Mike Phelan, our current assistant manager, he was also there. Brian Robson. These were the only players that, will rotate around. But that 99 team was the first time that you had like 2 sets of 11 that could play and were equally good. So I think that was another thing that made this team special. So talking about special, Joel, what made this team more special than the other 2? That means the 94 and 2008 team.
I think I can't compare much for the 94 because the 94 team actually made way and actually gave a solid foundation, a solid structure to the 99 team. So we got to be thankful for the 94 foundation. But if you want to touch back to the 2008 team, all right, what lacked more is the leadership quality and the quality to actually win. Why? Because I think at the point of time whereby you had like Ferdinand, Vidic in, and they were already in their prime. They're nearing their prime, and it's about whether or not they want to continue or just done and dusted with careers. And they were also actually talking about having a different career at the point of time. They're talking business at the point of time. So, and the whole world was actually evolving. Social media was coming in, a lot of business coming in. So football wasn't really much of a forte at the point of time of 08. But in 94, like what in Roy Keane's words, I only had football. I didn't have anything else to do. I wake up, it's football. I sleep, it's football. I eat, it's football. So in 94 and 99, this was the mentality these guys had. But once
99, the wave was coming through David Beckham.
Yeah, but once David Beckham hit it, and then that's it, man. Everybody started to follow the tape.
Yeah. So yes, we've talked about the speciality of this 99 season. KP and Kiren, share with us some of your memories from that season. Kiren first.
Hearing Joel reenact that FA Cup semi-final.
Motive fella, this guy, yeah?
That was excellent. You know what made it more special?
What?
Which I will later touch on in the 2008 during that season as well, was that Patrick, if I remember correctly, it was Vieira that gave away the ball, right?
Yes, correct.
I mean, it's sweet when we win it on our terms, but it's sweeter when someone else, a rival, a bitter rival, makes a mistake, gives it away, slips, etc., and gives it back to us, and then we win against all odds. Like what he mentioned, Keane getting sent off. I think for me, the 1999 team was probably one of the strongest ever Man United first 11 teams that I've ever seen. I think like KP pointed out earlier, it was a very balanced team. The young talented players that came in during 1992, they were already seasoned, and then you have good squad depth as well, which you have pointed out. And I thought that the icing on the cake was really being the first English team to actually win the treble, and then winning
Still
it.
the only.
Yes, and winning it in that style. I think that really takes the cake lah. There are only very few ways that you can actually win memorably. And the 1999 team, they went out there, they did their job. Like yourself and Joel pointed out, they had obstacles along the way. It wasn't just an easy path, in all three competitions.
Yeah.
And they did it. And they did it in style. And towards the end, they made it memorable. Yeah.
KP, your memories?
I mean, it's all the last minute goals and the fact that, we did everything the hard way that season. We played all the hard teams, all the victories came hard, even in the FA Cup, if I'm not mistaken, Keane got injured, very early in the game. He got injured and he had to be subbed out as well.
The semi-final, you mean?
No, the FA Cup final.
Final, yes, yeah, correct, yeah.
Yeah, so he got injured and after that he was subbed out as well. I think within the first 20 minutes or something like that. You know?
Correct.
So we did everything the hard way that season, and there were so many last minute wins, and then it was just, especially the final, right? I mean, who could write a script for that final?
Yeah,
true. Everything was done and dusted. And
Hollywood, that's Hollywood.
Yeah, right. So that, for me, that season was all about doing things the hard way, but doing things the hard way, but ultimately coming up tops in every single thing that everybody threw at us.
Okay. Thanks for sharing your memories, guys, Kiren and KP. So what happened after this 99 season? Let me just go through with you. 99-2000, we were league champions. 2000-2001, we were league champions again. We did the three-peat, winning the league title 3 seasons in a row. 2001-2002 Champions League semi-finalists, but we were third in the league that season, losing to Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League semi-finals. Tough defeat, that one. 2002-2003 we were league champions. 2003-2004 FA Cup champions, third in the league. 2004-2005 third in the league again. So that this was a period where we were a bit patchy. Things weren't looking great for us. We were in between teams and all that. So a bit of a patchy period in the Sir Alex Ferguson era. 2005-2006, we won the League Cup and we were second in the league. And then 2006-2007, we were league champions and Champions League semi-finalists, losing to a very good AC Milan team. So that was what happened from 99-2000 to 2006-2007. I would say, I think this period of time, considering how well we did in 98-99, I think a bit of a disappointment. We didn't do much more in the following seasons. We won the league title 3 times in a row, which is commendable. No one else has done it in recent years. But I always have this feeling that, we could have done much more, which we didn't. And of course, that 2001-2002 semi-final, losing to Bayer Leverkusen, we were favourites to win that, but we lost on away goals because we drew both games. That was a tough one. And this now brings me nicely to segment 3, where we'll be discussing the team that is 2007-2008.
Into Sheringham, and Solskjaer has won it! Of Europe again, and nobody will ever win a European Cup final more dramatically than this. Champions of Europe, champions of England, winners of the FA Cup, everything there.
So right guys, segment 3 now, 2007 and 2008. We're moving swimmingly here, and right now I'm bringing in Kiren to discuss this team. So Kiren, 2007-2008, what was special about this team?
Wow, this team had, if I had to say, this team had everything in it. You have your workhorses, okay. You have your mix of experienced players, you had flair players, you had the modern day Cantona, that one person that can drag the team over the finish line. So I think you had a very robust centre back pairing. You also had good squad depth as well. Because if you look at it, at any point of time when Ferguson looked at his bench, he could call upon Anderson, he could call upon Sri Lanka Park. He had Fletcher. He also, if I'm correct, he brought on Carrick as well.
Carrick was first team.
Yeah.
Mostly first team, yeah.
So it was all these players that he could call upon in case the
Owen Hargreaves, I think you forgot.
Flair players. Yes, Owen Hargreaves, yeah. So there were all these players that he could, he could just switch the midfield combination that he had. I think Nani was there as well.
Yes.
Midfield combination that he had, the type of tactics that he could fiddle through. It was just extensive. And I really thought that this 2007-2008 team, if you look at the whole team sheet, right, only a few names will stand out. But these few names would not have been part of this team that was made great if not for everyone else who fitted in nicely. You have a O'Shea, you have a Wes Brown, yeah, and of course, like I mentioned earlier, a Fletcher. These are the players that they have United blood running through. And any period of time, in the 80, 88 minute, 89 minute, if you need to defend a lead, sorry, I'm still bitter about how we just dropped 2 points. But these guys would be smart about it, because they know that we are talking about 3 points moving forward. So I really thought that this team probably had the best kind of mix in terms of team players and flair players. Yeah, may not be the best mix in terms of flair players and robust players like you see in 1994 and 999. But as a team, I thought we had very good workhorses in the team. People who are willing to play for the badge at the front rather than the name at the back. So that was really what I loved about this team. Yeah.
Okay. I would also point out this team was the team that differed from the previous two, from 94 and 95, because 94 95 strictly 4-4-2. This team, I think tactically, it has to go towards Carlos Queiroz for credit, because I think he set up the team very well. Because Sir Alex, I think after winning the treble in 99, 2000, 2001, we disappointed in Europe. Then 2001, 2002, he brought Juan Sebastian Veron to try and play in a different way in midfield, break away from the 4-4-2. Didn't quite work, that experiment. It had its successes, glimpses of it. But I think it only reached till 2007, 2008 when we actually had this different tactical mold, breaking away from the 4-4-2. It was almost like 4-3-3 when we went forward. The front three were interchangeable. Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo, they were all interchangeable players, and if you needed, you go back to 4-5-1 when you defended, so tactically it was very interchangeable, this team. So I think that for me made this team special.
I think, Ras, just to add on as well, I think it probably came a couple of seasons late, but we adapted to this style of playing probably as a response to, when during the early 2000s, it was always between United and Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right? But then Mourinho came in. And boy, he shaped up his team. He had a very robust DM in the form of Makelele covering. And then he had an excellent target man. So he started to play 4-5-1 quite a bit.
Yeah.
And
the 4-5-1 that can go into 4-3-3, yeah.
Yes. So he started to, introduce that kind of dynamic thinking in football that I thought we adapted a bit later. But thankfully, when we adapted it, he left. He got sacked.
Yeah.
So then we were the ones who revolutionized it, because instead of us just playing 4-5-1 all the time, our inverted wingers or attacking forwards, on the right and left. So you had Tevez and Ronaldo supporting Rooney, were
I think it was Rooney
efficient.
and Ronaldo supporting Tevez.
Okay. But they were destructive, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they pressed the centre backs, that was it was a sight to be seen. And teams often, whenever we won big.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah. So we were
that-
really good.
Those were the days before Gegen pressing. We were the ones who started the pressing from the front with Tevez and Rooney.
Exactly, and
especially these two.
we knew how to couple that with defending properly.
Yeah.
Because when Klopp started Gegen pressing, he had some issues. I mean, when he started with Liverpool, he didn't have a spine at the back, but we had a spine with Van der Sar, Vidic, and Rio. So once you have an established, they say defense wins you titles.
Yeah.
Once you have an established spine at the back, then your Gegen pressing will work, which is how Klopp has found recent success, with Alisson and VVD at the back. But then with VVD out, then you lose that spine. So I thought we had it.
Okay. Now moving on, what were the memorable moments in that season for you?
Okay, for me, it was actually the Champions League semi-final, which was against Barcelona.
Oh,
Yeah. So I know a lot of them will talk about the final, which was against Chelsea, right? But for me, the semi-final was more significant because I actually felt that Barcelona was the strongest team out there. Yeah, in terms of, if you look at who they had on the squad, you had Puyol, you had emerging Messi, Henry went over, if I was correct, and then Ronaldinho was still there. He left the season after that. So they were a very, very strong team. I think they were also steamrolling some of the teams that
they had
met in
Samuel
the group
Eto'o. They
stages.
didn't have Henry. I think they had Samuel Eto'o that time.
Samuel Eto'o, yeah, well, he's
fantastic.
deadly as well. Yeah, he's clinical. So this team, I thought, was really the team that no one wanted to face. And then we happened to play with them in the semi-finals, and we won. And if I recall correctly, it was through a Scholes goal.
Yep. A
Yeah,
screamer.
and it was a wonder hit. Yeah. So it's a very trademark Scholes goal. And remember that we actually played the game very well.
Tactically, yes.
Yeah, tactically correct. We had them figured out. So I actually enjoyed the game because when I watched it, right, I knew that I actually didn't really see Barcelona have a lot of chances.
Yeah.
Compared to when I watched, if you had to put me, if I was going to watch the Chelsea game, I was at the edge of my seat because we scored early, relatively early. And then after that, it was Chelsea all the way until Drogba got sent off. Then we had chances, but when it goes down to penalties, I mean, we all want it wrapped by before extra time, before penalties, right? Yeah. So for me, rather than the Champions League, and in the end, the penalties, it wasn't like, it was also a bit of a travesty with Terry falling and then Anelka
Missing.
Got saved, right? His shot got saved. And he didn't look, he clearly didn't look interested. I don't know whether it was the rain or what, but yeah, so that match was, it was memorable to me, but the semi-finals were more memorable to me. And I remember there was another game, I think, if I remember throughout the season, it was just us, Chelsea and Arsenal.
Yeah.
If I was correct. And then I think we played Arsenal, we won them 2-1. And
at Old Trafford, yes.
Yes, correct. And that game was great because I think it was the period where we had to either, if I was correct, we widened the gap between us and Arsenal.
True.
And I still remember it was where Ronaldo showboated. So Arsenal wanted to get into the game, and this is where you would never see this in the 1994 and 1999 team, players showboating.
Yeah.
But Ferguson allowed him to do that because he really ran down the clock, and he was at the corner flag half the time. With his outlet was Rooney, but he drew the fouls, and we just ran the clock down. And that was when I know that the tide has turned. It wasn't going to be Arsenal, so it was going to be a two-horse race, and yeah. So those were the memorable moments for me.
Okay, on that semi-final against Barcelona, I would say first leg, we could have won it as well. We missed the penalty. Ronaldo, early
right.
doors, we had a penalty. Ronaldo missed it. We could have won both legs 1-0.
Actually, Ronaldo's penalty taking is not as prolific as
I think as a player, he's come on leaps and bounds since then. As he's got older, I think he's got better in big games. In that time when he was with United, he kind of went missing in big games. So I think as he has got older, I think he's got better in that aspect.
True.
So, Kiren, what makes this team different or special compared to the 94 and 99 teams?
Yeah, so I think that this team, I mean, if I have to say, it was a hybrid team that was moving with times. You know, so you like mentioned tactically, I mean, this team played a lot of fast, free-flowing kind of football. They weren't playing by the wings as often. They were playing gegen pressing, you know, high press. I also thought that this team had a lot of players that were willing to cover areas of the field that they normally would not cover. So you can see that players like Park, really covering all the, I mean, they were covering all sorts of areas, and goals were coming from all outlets as well. So I thought that if I have to say, you know, what makes this team really different from the other teams was that I think in terms of raw talent or potential on paper, this team may not be the best, but I think in terms of you know, the individual players' contribution to the team and the teamwork, I think this team really stands out lah. Yeah, that was what I felt. You know, everyone covering each other. The tactics dictate that you would have to, you know, when you push forward, you have to make sure that the whole team pushes forward as well, so that you don't leave this gap between defense and midfield, for example, right in the middle, because that will play into the opponent's hands. So I thought that this team did it very well, and we had a lot of players who were willing to also adapt to, for example, the new modern way of playing football. Yeah, so this is the era where players were starting to use a lot more footballing intelligence, I have to say. You know, yeah, so that made this team, in my eyes, more special than or different from the other two teams.
Okay. KP, any memories you have of this team this season?
I think for me, this season was the season where Ronaldo became CR7, you know.
Yeah.
So basically, he was the one who became the man, took the responsibility, and, you know, he dragged the team through half the season. And then from there onwards, he won, you know, his Ballon d'Or and all that, and then moved to Real Madrid. So that was the season where we finally saw what he was capable of. Just too bad that we didn't see more of it in the United colours.
Yeah. True. Joel, yourself, memories?
I think like what KP said, Ronaldo did well in it, definitely. But I think my player of the pick for that season was Gerard Piqué. I think that season made the way for him to go into Barcelona. I think he went to Real Zaragoza first on loan, and then he went all guns blazing in Barcelona. So Gerard Piqué was kind of a good player for me. But it's going to be funny. But my favorite game that season has got nothing to do with United though. It was the Portsmouth versus Reading game.
Oh.
That game for the bookies is going to be hilarious. It was 7-4. And it was like on a Saturday night, 11 p.m. You're watching the game. You got nothing to do. You just switch on the TV and you just boom. End-to-end stuff from two clubs that you would not have actually thought that they are actually capable of scoring actually 11 goals.
Yeah, that's like a futsal score.
That's like a futsal score, Ras. I mean, that was unbelievable. End-to-end stuff. But yeah, that was it. But in terms of overall for United, I think for me, Cristiano Ronaldo was the one who did a lot of things. I think, yes, like you said, he did not turn up for certain games. But in terms of award-wise, I think he just flushed out everything, man. Player of the Year, PFA Player of the Year, Premier League Player of the Year, everything. He just wiped out. And then that made the way for him to actually embark on the journey and to who he is now. Yeah,
actually, interesting one. You spoke about Portsmouth. And Portsmouth were the team that denied us a treble. I sincerely believed it.
Yes.
Because definitely. we were all over the place against Portsmouth. We were all over them. We could have won that easily, 4-5-0.
The thing is, they had good players, Ras. They had like the likes of Benjani, Suli Montari. Yeah. Oh my God, they were like stunning, man. But yeah,
Papa Boba Diop, the late Papa Boba Diop.
The late Papa Boba Diop, yep.
Yeah, I mean, true. They had a good team, but in the game, we were actually playing well. We had a lot of chances. We missed a lot of chances. And then we lost 2 goalkeepers and Rio Ferdinand had to play in goal.
Oh, yeah, boy.
And then we lost it on a penalty in that game. And that's it. Our FA Cup dreams were shattered and our treble dreams as well were shattered.
It could have been back-to-back, man.
Yeah, it could have been another treble.
Yeah.
So close. You see the margins, very, very close. So guys, that's that with this 2007-2008 team. What happened after this season? 2008-2009, we won the league again. We won League Cup. We were Club World Cup champions. And we entered the Champions League final. We lost that to Barcelona.
Yeah.
That one, in fact, I think that was the best bet for us to beat Barcelona in that final. It was a very disappointing final.
Very.
In fact, Barcelona were lucky to even get to the final because Chelsea should have been there.
Yep.
And I was fearful because if Chelsea had been there, I was thinking, oh God, I think they're going to get revenge for what happened the previous season in that final. It happened that we did not play well. We started well, but we fizzled out and then Barcelona became Barcelona and they won. That was a bit of a disappointment. 2008-2009. We were second in the UEFA Super Cup as well. We lost that to Zenit St. Petersburg. And 2009-2010, after that, we were League Cup champions. We finished second in the league to Chelsea. Then 2010-2011, we were back again, league champions. And went to the final again. This was probably the most unlikeliest team to enter the final, the most unlikeliest Manchester United team to enter the final of the Champions League. I thought, we were good for us to even make it to the final, let alone win it. So against that Barcelona at its absolute peak, I think no chance. We entered that final in that season. Then 2011-2012, of course, losing the league by the minutest of details, goal difference to Manchester City. And then finally, Sir Alex, last season, 2012-13, league champions that season. Again, a bit of heartbreak in the Champions League, losing to Real Madrid. Unfair sending off, I would feel, of Nani in that game. But, luck wasn't on our side in that match. So off we went and off Sir Alex went into the horizon. Now he's sitting in the stands watching us play. I would really like to know what he thinks of how we are doing. But, of course, on paper, in the media, he will not be sharing his true sentiments and thoughts. But yeah. And you sometimes wish you were flying on the wall when with Sir Alex around to know what he really thought of this team now. So yeah, we've covered the 3 great Sir Alex Ferguson teams, 1994, 1999, and 2008. Now in the final segment of the show, I think our guests have got a very, very difficult task. They got to choose their all-time 11, their favorite 11 from these 3 teams. It's an unenviable task. Good luck, guys. See you again, segment 4.
He didn't look happy coming forward, Anelka, and he's not happy now because it's red in Russia. This English night in Europe is Manchester United's night. Best in the Premier League. They're best in the Champions League. Thanks to Edwin van der Sar's save. Ronaldo's had a reprieve. And Manchester United's joy is unconfined. They've left Chelsea in second place yet again.
All right. Segment 4, we are back. Your all-time favorite 11 from the players that played in 94, 99, and 2008. We'll start with Mr. KP. What do you have?
Okay. I
Your
will
formation
have
first.
Formation, I will go for 4-4-2, man.
Okay, good old 4-4-2.
Yeah, just stick to that and stick to what we know best. So
Okay.
at goalkeeper, there's no one but Schmeichel, right? So Schmeichel will be there. I like my goalkeepers loud. I like them robust, so he's the man for it.
Okay.
At left back, I will have Dennis Irwin there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, he's Mr. Reliable. He could do everything. He could play left back, right back, free kicks, penalties, everything. He could do it. And then at centre back, I will pair Yep Stam, the man mountain, with Rio Ferdinand.
Oh.
Stam is like he is the immovable mountain. I don't know if you guys can remember Zamorano in '99. Backing into Stam. Stam just stood his ground, and Zamorano just went into a dead halt. And he just couldn't move. Right. So then you have Ferdinand to partner him. Ferdinand with the speed and the brains to just cover everything else, right?
Yeah.
And
The
then
reading ability.
And yes, he will be the one who will be doing most of the leading. And then we have Gary Neville. I think purely because he's Mr. Reliable. You know, the guy, he's not flashy, he's reliable. He has a good cross in him as well. And he works well with actually Beckham on the right and even Ronaldo towards the next phase as well. Right? So I'll have him there. And then at center midfield, who else but Roy Keane? Right? Roy Keane.
Yeah.
He will be in every single team that I have. Roy Keane, I will partner him with Scholes for the creativity, you know. So these two guys, they will just work their magic. And on left wing, the young Ryan Giggs, the Ryan Giggs of the early 90s.
Okay.
So this guy was cut in, cut out, left, right, and he would just run straight, whatever, he could do it all, you know. And then on right, actually, I would actually put Beckham, purely for his crosses, more than anything else.
Yeah.
I think football is more technical these days. People like Kanchelskis would not have a place in today's game, you know.
Yeah, Beckham's crosses, set pieces, corners, all they're fantastic. I feel until today we actually miss someone like that in the team.
Precisely. I think he's almost like a point for us every game, guaranteed.
Yeah, correct.
You know,
a goal. Yeah.
So and then up front, I will partner Cantona with Ronaldo.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So with these two guys, I will tell them, you know what, just go and do whatever you want to do.
I can imagine Cantona sitting back and getting the ball, being like the playmaker, feeding for Cristiano.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You can actually see him, you know, standing upright with his collar up and just stringing the passes, you know, threading it through to Ronaldo and just let Ronaldo do all the stuff.
Yeah, but he wouldn't get the ball back. That's the only thing.
Yeah, but I don't think he minds as well. The thing with Cantona as well is that despite whatever people think of him, he is a team player.
True.
You know, so I mean, whatever works for the team, he will do it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's my 11.
So that's your 11, KP. Joel, your 11.
Oh, I think I'm like almost similar to KP, but then can't help him, and I'm a 99 boy. What can I do? All right, I'll start off with Peter Schmeichel. Like what KP said, I want my keeper to be shouting the entire 90 minutes and not just keep his mouth shut. I need him to be vocal, like a warrior out there blasting through that. But you don't need to actually use your vocal that much if I'm going to have my two centre-backs pairing as Vidic and Yapstam.
Oh.
Two big monsters in the middle. That's it. You don't need to do so much. I think as a keeper, you can just chillax, you know. And on my left back, I'm going with my ever-reliable guy. I love this game code. Patrice Evra. I'll go with Patrice Evra, my left back. I look Kiren there. I think Kiren, you wanted to use that. And on right back, I don't think so. There's any other good right backs at United, man. Other than Gary Neville. In my time, I think Gary Neville. But I think if I'm going to move for that closer, it could be Raphael. But then, yes, I'm going to go with Gary Neville. And my formation is 4-4-2. And my four midfielders are the same as KP. It's going to be Giggs on the left, Scholes on the center, Keane on the center, Beckham on the right. And on my two up front, all right, I'm going to go with Ronaldo and Rooney.
Ronaldo and Rooney.
Okay, and the only one that I would change, if you ask me a question, Russ, that say that, no, which player we like to change this season, the only time I will change is probably Scholes for Bruno.
I knew it. KP, do you get Scholes with Keane? I missed that part, in fact.
Yes, Scholes and Keane.
Okay, all right. Kiren, your team, what formation you playing?
I see that we have chosen pretty similar players, but there are differences. I'm going to go for a 4-1-4-1 kind of formation.
Okay.
Yeah, so 5 midfielders in the 8. Yeah. And of course, you have to have Schmeichel in there. I think Schmeichel and Van der Sar, they both have extremely good reflexes, you know, to out there with De Gea. But I think Schmeichel, he shepherds his defenders. He is like a rock at the back. He's like a boss at the back. So I have to have him there. In the center, I went with Yapstam and Vidic as well. Yeah, because I'm figuring you have to be even prime Messi will not be able to dribble past both of them. Yeah, you may be able to go past one, but then you've got to be careful because the other one is coming in hard and fast. So it's Yapstam and Vidic, and I feel that although, you know, when Vidic and Ferdinand played together, it was always like Vidic for the brawn, and then Ferdinand for his ball playing ability, for the footballing intelligence. But actually, Vidic was he also had a good degree of footballing intelligence in him as well. So I would definitely have him there. On the left, actually, it was a hard toss-up between Irwin and Evra for me, but I went with Dennis Irwin because Dennis Irwin, on top of the fact that he's a utility player, I heard that his set pieces were also good. So I would want someone who can, not just be a master of one trade, but a jack of all trades. So I'll take him in. And on the right, I think no question about it, Gary Neville. Prime Gary Neville, not the Gary Neville that plays for charity matches, man. But the prime Gary Neville, I would have him there. And then anchor as the anchorman of the midfield, as the DM, the one that is shielding them, I would have Roy Keane there. Roy Keane there. In front of Roy Keane, I would have Scholes. Okay. And then slightly in front of Scholes, I would have Cantona. So then you have this spine, right? So you definitely need two talented wingers, right and left. So I would go for Giggs on the left and then Ronaldo on the right. Okay, because I remember Ronaldo, yes, his attacking prowess is excellent, but his wing play was also very good. And he had a decent cross in him. And I thought his overall athletic ability put forth that argument before Beckham lah. So I'll definitely have him there. And then in front, of course, the sole striker would be Wayne Rooney for me.
Wayne Rooney. Okay, nice, interesting teams. Only Kiren's got a bit of a different formation setup, but pretty similar, guys. Yeah. So a quick one, Kiren, your favorite Manchester United player?
Well, mine has to be Scholes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just not just his knack of scoring important goals, but I would actually like the fact that he was a United player through and through. The career longevity, the fact that Ferguson had to call him back, that showed how important he was to the squad. And the footballing intelligence of that man is out of this world.
True.
Paul Scholes was just excellent. So my favorite player, Scholes, all time.
What about Paul Scholes, the pundit?
Wow, he's once in a while he sounds like Michael Owen. I don't think that's.
I think he's emotional. He's emotional fellow.
Yeah, recently he's been on the years back. I get it. Of all these old boys, I can understand the frustration, and I think because of their ties with, their ties backroom with Ole and all that, they don't want to be overly critical on the manager itself. The players don't help themselves with individual errors. So but Scholes the pundit, 5 upon 10. Scholes the player, full marks, man. He was excellent.
Okay, KP, your favorite Manchester United player? Can be from any team, not just these three teams.
I think there's so many, right? But if I have to choose one, it'll be Mark Hughes. Sparky, right? The guy was he scored some really beautiful goals.
Yeah.
And the guy is he's a monster, right? You look at his thighs, his legs were like tree trunks.
Yeah.
And even long before people like Scholes came about with their volleying skills and all that, you should check Mark Hughes out.
Yeah.
He was the original.
Correct. And he could hold up the ball for days.
Yes.
Yeah, you get the ball to him, that's it. He can hold it up. Nobody's going to get the ball off him. You need to foul him to get the ball.
And I think he had a bit of a temper as well.
Yeah, true. He was very quiet, but if he needed, he will flare up. Yeah, true.
There was one game, I don't know if you can find the footage. The defender was shielding the ball from him, and from behind, he kicked the guy in the nuts. From behind. Yeah.
That's something maybe I will go and research. If I find it, I'm going to share it on our page.
I have a question. How did he get that nickname, Sparky?
I think he always had that nickname, so because these guys, those days, they really had some really dumb, very funny nicknames and all that, and they're not very creative, like the guys these days.
So I was thinking spark of anger, it just takes a little spark to trigger Sparky, yeah.
But the thing is, if you look at him and you think you give him a name like Sparky, it's actually quite funny.
It's like chunky.
Yeah.
And Joel, your favorite player?
Oh, my favorite player is Ryan Giggs, bro. I mean, my local player is Sundram. So to match that, the dazzler and always dazzling on the pitch, Ryan Giggs has always been there. That's the kind of player that we are missing at this current season, at this current team. The kind of player whereby you're able to cut through into defense, able to take on defenders, and right now we don't have anybody. And to watch Ryan Giggs at the point of time, my best memories, like I've shared earlier on the show, it's just unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, KP spoke about Ryan Giggs from the early 90s. I remember Ryan Giggs in those days, skinny guy in a baggy jersey. Remember KP? In a baggy jersey.
Curly hair flying,
He liked to do these winding runs, I've not seen it at all since then. This player that, winds in, out, in, out, in, out. He leaves you in a knot. And I remember in those days also in 94, around there, he was wearing Reebok boots. So he was doing some endorsement for Reebok and he was doing some skills videos and all. I was watching that and I was always trying the rainbow flick over your head that he was doing. So, and also, in those days you go for school trainings and all, soccer training. I would always try this dribble, and I would say I did pretty well in the dribble. But of course, I never really made it as a footballer. But yeah, that was my story with Ryan Giggs. And
those goal celebrations that they do these days, all the dance and all that, Lingard and Pogba and all that. The original guys that did it were actually Paul Ince and
Giggs. And then Lee Sharp had his Elvis move.
And his Elvis, yeah. So Ince and Giggs had their own secret handshake and stuff like that for goal celebrations.
Yeah, true. And Kiren, Paul Scholes, I remember when he broke into the team in that 95-96 season, he was actually a forward. He was playing with Andy Cole, and Cantona was a bit behind. So he was like a three-man forward. So Cantona in the hole, Scholes and Andy Cole playing forward. I don't know when this switch happened and Scholes started playing centre mid, but I always remember Scholes to be a centre forward when he started out.
Which is actually quite interesting, right? Because you don't rate Scholes for how he plays in the box. You rate him for how he opens up play from yards out, like 100, not 100 yards out, that will be out of the field, but like 50 yards out, Scholes can. I remember there's this anecdote about Ronaldo, and Ronaldo saying that, there was this challenge and only Scholes could hit the tree from way out with just one try. So, I mean, the guy is just great. The only thing he can't do is tackle.
Yeah. That explains why he was a forward. That's why he can't tackle. But he was a very good finisher.
Keep him away from your box.
Yeah, he was a very good finisher, very good striker in those days, I remember.
They had these stories about when they were training those days back at the cliff. So most of these guys, they don't dare to go pee in the bushes because they know that Scholes will hit one on them.
What they call it? Sat nav, right? Sat nav passing, correct. So for me, my favorite player, of course, Lee Sharp is always going to be special for me. That's the first player that was my favorite as a Manchester United fan. And Eric Cantona after that, especially after the 95-96 season where he was the man dragging the team around in that season, winning us games on his own. I think from that season, Eric Cantona became my favorite player. So guys, any last words on this fabulous era we had? So lucky to have experienced this era, right guys? Under Sir Alex Ferguson, many times, many great players that played for us, players that were made great, and of course, players that were naturally great that played for Manchester United in those years. Any last words, guys? Kiren, KP, Joel, anyone go first? Feel free. Joel.
I think for me, I've just been very blessed that, through all this, how many 20, 30 years that I've been blessed to watch the team, evolve from what it was to what it is now, right? Well, not now, now, right? But to have seen the team through the last 20, 30 years, it's been such a privilege.
I would say I was lucky as well, because when I started supporting, United were on the brink. My first ever triumph that I saw United win was the Cup Winners' Cup against Barcelona. Mark Hughes scored 2 goals in that final, and in those days before Cantona, Mark Hughes was the main striker. So I was lucky. So we were on the cusp of it, and then suddenly this blowout came out, and there we are, successful as ever. Very lucky.
And we beat Maradona in that game, huh?
Yeah, Maradona wasn't playing.
Oh.
That Barcelona team had quite a few great players that weren't playing in that final.
But that was a beautiful goal that he scored, though. That one.
When he went past the goalkeeper and from a tight angle.
From a very tight angle, he just smashed it.
Yeah, true. It was. Joel?
I think for a message where for fans this time that's watching United, all right, you just got to trust the process, man. I mean, just got to trust the process whereby, we have been blessed for many, many years of success. I mean, during the times of success, we had our ups and downs as well. Yeah. We had our best players leaving the pitch. We had, internal fights like Beckham's hairdresser treatment of the boot being thrown at him. So we had a lot of good memories and bad memories. But lately, we have been having a lot of bad memories. But guys, we started from the bottom. All right, we always started from the bottom and then we slowly actually bring it up. So right now, we have the process in place. All right, the team is playing a little bit better every now and then. All right, but it's not going to be all bed of roses. We just got to be patient. All right, the glory days will be back. We don't need to wait 30 years to win the league. Trust me.
Hopefully. Kiren?
Yeah, I think what makes a team great is it just the players, or is it just the manager, or is it a perfect marriage of both, right?
Yeah,
just coming in together. So you can see, I think in this whole podcast, we have showed that in 3 different eras, 3 different type of playing styles, one constant, which was Sir Alex Ferguson, but he had to adapt.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with Joel. Yeah, you have to trust the process. At the same time, you need these 2 key components. You need a manager that knows what he's doing, knows what is the end goal for that process, and you need players that are willing to die for the team in that sense. Right now, I mean, if I look at the current team, I think we are 80% there, if you ask me. We are a couple of players short, but at the same time, it's a combination of 2 factors. So I also think that, the manager has his work cut out. I think there's a lot of improvement on that front as well. So I think another 20% improvement in terms of squad depth, team moving forward in terms of tactics on the managers end. And I agree with Joe. Glory days are coming. At least I see it closer for us than Arsenal, So trust the process, but at the same time, let's remember that it's always a combination of factors, not just one alone. Yep, as fans, let's remember that.
Just before I leave, I got the answer on why Mark Hughes is known as Pucky. This is thanks to Mr. KP. He just shared this article with me. It was actually from his time as a youngster in Wrexham that his friends named him Sparky after a bulldog because of his robust style of play.
Oh,
yeah.
That's interesting.
So the comic character is known as Sparky, so that's why he is Sparky. So that's trivia for you guys. Thanks, KP, for sharing.
No problem, man.
All right. So with that, we bring the end to this episode. I hope you all have a very prosperous Chinese New Year. To all my Chinese listeners and to everyone else, I hope you enjoy the long weekend that you have. Of course, no travel and all that. Health comes first, guys. So take care of your health. Hopefully things get back to normality very, very soon and we can travel. And, I miss going back to Malaysia. So I hope to go back soon one day. And guys, those listening in, you might not be a Manchester United fan even listening in to this. You like it, please share this episode with your friends who might be United fans or who might not be, but who would be interested to hear. All you guys, Manchester United fans, share it with your fellow United fans as well. I hope you enjoy this episode. It's me, Ras, signing out together with my 3 guests, Joel, KP, Kiren. thanks a lot for coming on the show. Thanks for sharing your memories. Thanks for reminiscing. And have a good one. Till we meet again, guys. Ciao.